You're listening to At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production.
Welcome to another episode of At the Mic. I'm your host, Keith Malinak. There are a lot of fascinating people who work at the Blaze TV, and one of those is the managing producer of the show Stu Does America. His name is Adam Ford, and he recently sat down with me and we discussed, well, Barney the Dinosaur's inspirational tree, how it was to work for Joy Behar, and growing up among the Amish. Oh, we also talked about herpetologists. All right, let's get right to it. Adam Ford, this week's guest on At the Mic. I'm here with Adam Ford, a coworker of mine for how many years have you... Well, first, before I do this stuff, I owe you an apology, okay?
I'm ready.
Because I walked into this room 2.5 minutes late. Okay? See, I am always the guy who shows up early, okay?
Well, apparently not today.
Apparently not today. And you were waiting out there in the hallway to come in here, and I felt bad enough at that, and then I was 2.5 minutes late, and so I didn't respect your time, and I'm sorry. So thank you for being prompt, because you, sir, are I think the only person in this building that shows up where they're supposed to be on time. And so thank you, and I'm sorry that I betrayed that trust.
It took years of practice to get there, and years of beatings by my father to get that way. But the 2.5 minutes was not a bad thing. If you'll notice where I was sitting, I was under the Barney tree.
Oh, yeah.
And what a better spot for inspiration for something like this.
That's true.
Than under the Barney tree.
Yeah.
So it was really a spiritually enlightening time for me. And,
that's good to know. But now, is the rumor true? We molested that Barney tree and cut it in half, right? Because didn't it used to be a lot taller?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we destroyed it.
That's sad. I mean, with it went so many innocent childhoods.
We didn't destroy it. We made it more efficient. It's a better tree now. Just like all the trees in the rainforest. They were just sitting there doing nothing as far as I'm concerned. But now they're paper.
Right.
Toilet paper.
They serve a purpose.
They're useful.
Thank you. Humans needed newspapers more than monkeys needed... wait, there's no monkeys down there.
They're all dead. Cut down their homes.
Messed that up big time. Okay, so you, sir, have been employed here at the Blaze for how long?
Long time, coming up on a decade in April, I think.
Nice. Okay, so hold on a second. Wait. I got to do quick math here. Mm-hmm. So did you work with the Blaze then before Glenn moved his operations down here to Dallas?
I sure did. I was Glenn's first TV intern at CNN in, 2007?
Wow.
Just a summer internship, randomly assigned. That's how I got to know a lot of the people that are still around because they were working with that operation. Finished the summer, went back to school, graduated, hit up all my contacts from the internship, ended up back at CNN on... the wonderful Joy Behar program, or whatever we called it. That was just high tier television.
Was she fun to work with?
She was very nice.
Really?
She was very good to her staff.
Really?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness, that's good to hear. I wouldn't believe that if I didn't know you.
Yeah, there were. I'm sure there were diva moments, but I was pretty low on the totem pole.
Okay.
And she invited the whole staff over to her house, threw a whole party. Whoopi was there. It was
wow.
It was kind of cool.
That is cool.
No regrets for that, but. I only lasted a year or so on that show.
Did you leave, or were you?
I did. I was very happy to abandon the CNN ship and head over to Mercury Radio Arts, where Glenn Beck was about to leave Fox News and start his new thing.
Okay.
So that was when I came in a full-time capacity.
So it's just ironic that you grew up in Dallas and now you're back here, huh?
Well, born in Dallas.
I'm sorry, that's right. You were born in Dallas.
Moved away when I was a year old.
Okay. And was that traumatic? I mean, that first year, you must have put down roots. And
I mean, it's Colleyville is where we had our house, and it was just real hard to leave. But we were headed for the green pastures of Connecticut. So,
wait now. How did you grow up then in Amish Country, Pennsylvania? It looks like it's Lancaster County, but I think it's pronounced
Lancaster.
Lancaster, yes.
You got it.
So did you go from Dallas to Pennsylvania straight through, or you went to Connecticut
Dallas
first?
to Connecticut until 4th grade, and then to Amish Country in 5th grade, where I stayed through college in Philly and onward to New York.
And so you took a horse and buggy everywhere you went, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
It was a weird dynamic out there. Part of my driver's test, I had to prove that I could correctly pass a horse and buggy on the streets, which involves, not being on a hill, signaling, getting over a lane, all the stuff we ignore because we just buzz by them as close as we can, try to nick the horse with our window on the way by, just liven up their day a little bit. But
yeah, so I mean, because I've when we lived up there, we went to Amish Country, and like spent a weekend.
It's a trip.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. It's fascinating. In fact, I remember getting the tour of some sort of like house or whatever that was set up, from the period, and it was right behind a Target. And so, but I remember passing on the road the horses and the buggies. I never thought that would be incorporated into a driving test, but that makes total sense. But it's beautiful up there.
If you don't mind the smell.
If you don't mind the smell. But no, it's really cool. So obviously not everybody in Amish country, not everybody in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania is Amish.
Correct. I would say the minority is Amish.
I was going to ask you, do you know what the percentage is? Don't make me Google it.
I don't know the percentage. I'd say probably about 75% what they call English and 25% Amish.
Okay.
Depends where you go. They're very localized. There will be a couple of miles where it's a ton of farms grouped together. And then you'll have I love calling it the English area because they call us the English.
Wow, that's fun.
It seems like just a normal suburbia.
Okay, so you grew up basically in the Northeast after spending a year here in Dallas.
Yep.
Have one sibling?
Yes, older sister, Ashley. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. How close are you guys in age?
She's 3 years older than me. She's up in Pennsylvania. She does teaching, and she's a karate instructor on the side.
Oh, wow.
My sister and father are both black belts in karate.
Oh, my gosh. I bet. Hold on. When did she start taking classes?
Oh, when she was very young.
Oh, no.
Probably 13 or 14 years
old.
Did
you guys get along, or did she kick your butt all the time?
We had a tumultuous relationship
oh, no.
that grew into us being very close eventually.
Cool.
But yeah, I made it to green belt in karate, and then I quit because I wanted to play hockey.
Hold on. Well, first of all, we got to talk about hockey. That's awesome.
Street hockey, not ice hockey.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about hockey, but the first things first. If I remember correctly, you'd go to maybe you don't remember. I don't know. How old are you?
33.
33. Okay. So you're 33. When I was a kid, the Karate Kid movie was a thing. Mm-hmm. And you'd go to the theater and you get a coupon. Hey, free, 5 free lessons or whatever at the karate place next door to the theater.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah. And that's why so many kids my generation there got into karate.
Everybody walked in, wanted to do the crane move, right?
Right,
yeah.
right. Mm-hmm. So I remember, well, first of all, being terrible at it. Okay, but I remember really struggling to go from the white belt to the yellow belt to the green belt. Is that right?
Depends on the form. I was tung sudo. I think there's
okay, because I was about to say not impressed if you made a 2-level advancement, but you're talking about you were really up there then, huh?
No, it was about 2 belts.
Oh well, then. All right, well, forget that setup. Sorry.
They said I had a real affinity for it, though. They said I could have gone on to get really good at it.
And then they said
I didn't like the sound of that at all.
I was gonna say, did they say that while they were showing you how much the next course would cost? And you're doing so great.
But to circle back to your question. My sister won a lot more arguments the further up in belts that she got. So
that would make sense. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you say. Absolutely. Okay, so you alluded to street hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. I've never heard anyone ever talk about playing street hockey other than me.
Oh,
and
man.
The 20 years that it's been since I've had a chance to play.
It was huge in our town.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Gap, Pennsylvania. We had the Salisbury Township Youth Hockey League.
It was a league?
It was a league. There were probably 10 or 12 teams of 15 kids per from all around the area. It was a big deal.
And hold on, so that was running around in shoes, right? Or was it skating? So that's more like roller hockey type stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not street hockey,
okay.
roller hockey.
Because I just run around, man.
We call it street hockey because it sounds cool.
It does sound cool, yeah.
But no, we had the fancy mission skates and stuff with the ball bearings that spin for 2 hours and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. See, I would have learned how to skate, and know how to stop more specifically.
You got to drag that toe.
Yeah, if there was a league, that's cool.
We had down at the Gap Town Park, we had 2 concrete rinks with little foot-high lips and then fencing for the rest of it.
That is cool.
They were pretty no contact about it, but we didn't care. It got pretty brutal.
I bet it did. So what was the age range that you played that?
That would probably be from about the time I was Well, we were playing out in the cul-de-sac, from the time I was 12. I didn't join the league till about 14.
You're speaking my language, yeah.
Yeah, 14, 15, 16. That kind of year range before high school got to high school-y.
Okay, to high school-y, yeah. So, so it was an organized league. Sounds like a blast.
It was fun.
Yeah. What position did you play?
They pretty much just split us into offense and defense. And if you were right-handed, you took right wing. If you were left-handed, so I played right-wing offense.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay, so grew up there. You eventually went to college at Temple.
Sure did.
In Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And you majored in broadcast journalism. How was that?
It was good. I actually came in under print journalism. They had it split up between print, radio, and television. When I selected print, the very first thing that my teacher told me was pretty much, this is a dying industry. You don't want to be in newspapers. You need to rethink your career path. And I was like, oh, okay. So broadcast it was. And it was. I went to Temple because it was either that or Penn State for accredited schools of journalism in Pennsylvania. And my sister was already at Penn State, and you
knew she could kick your butt.
That too.
And you wanted to stay away.
It's a big area, though. I'm pretty fast. I could probably run away. But it scared me how big main campus was.
Oh,
man.
wow.
We used to go to concerts at the Bryce Jordan Center, and it was terrifying. So my SAT scores weren't quite good enough for main campus. I would have had to do a satellite school for 2 years, and that just, it sounded like a whole thing. So
let's be honest, that's why all of us got into broadcast journalism, because our scores weren't good enough for any other
something like that
situation. Yeah,
something like that. So Philly, I went.
Okay, because I majored. I went to University of Nebraska, and I mean it's basically the same degree you're talking about, broadcast journalism. I think it was journalism and mass communication, something like that. And I do remember that the year that I enrolled there was the last year you didn't have to take any math classes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, lucky.
Right. You only had to take 2 years of a foreign language instead of 4. And I forget, there was one other thing. I got in like at the right time because I don't know if you're familiar with me. I can't handle a simple math problem. So it worked out nicely. But I grew up.
You're in good company.
Yeah, right? So, and let's be honest, being broadcast majors, we have no real marketable skills outside of this building.
Nope, none.
So it better work out, or we're doing something completely different.
I keep an eye on the Alamo Drafthouse website to see if they're hiring servers, just in case. I like their business model. I feel like I could contribute.
That's awesome. That's great. Yes. But I knew, I marked time age 8 when I wanted to get into radio. When did you get that bug to be in this business?
Oh, man, not for a while. It would have been, I wanted to be a fireman, and then I wanted to be an air traffic controller.
Oh, wow. You like high-pressure situations,
Apparently. Well, it doesn't matter. I was too stupid for all these, so it's just childhood pipe dreams. But my father was in the Air Force. He was an air traffic controller during the war, so... and then a herpetologist was a big driving in middle school, early high school.
Yeah. Which is
not the study of herpes. It's reptiles and amphibians, biology kind of stuff.
I've never heard that word. First of all, herpetology.
That is the proper name for someone who studies reptiles and amphibians.
And how did you get that bug?
Just I had pet lizards. I used to love catching snakes out in the garden and keeping them in tubs in the garage and freaking my mom out.
You wanted to be a firefighter, you wanted to be an air traffic controller, and then you caught snakes as a kid. I mean, you like to live on the edge.
Apparently, as much of the edge as suburban Connecticut will provide, or Amish Country, Pennsylvania. But I got into journalism in high school because I wanted to take more writing and English classes because I've been a voracious reader since I was very, very young.
Okay.
And I've always enjoyed writing. And you know how you'll have that one teacher in high school that makes the difference in your life, that changes your whole trajectory? For me, it was Adam Barkowski at Pequea Valley High School. He showed me a side of writing and, political engagement, civic engagement. He showed me what journalism was and could be, and just really sparked something in me that I was like, I really like this. I'm going to stick to that. So
very cool.
If Mr. B is listening to this, thanks, Mr. B. I think we'll see. TBD.
So you're a big reader, and I guess my next question then would be, what's your favorite book, or name some books that you're a big fan of?
I came up on Michael Crichton. I stole my dad's copy of Jurassic Park when I was in I think 4th or 5th grade, and I was reading it.
Was this before or after you were obsessed with reptiles and all that stuff?
This was probably a little before, if not during the early stages. So I just put that together.
Nice.
Who knows? Jurassic Park, dinosaurs. Of course, those dinosaurs were birds, right?
I see.
That's what Dr. Grant's competitor says. But I stole his copy of Jurassic Park. I got in trouble at school for reading that book. The teacher said, you should not be reading this book. It's too advanced for you. My parents were not pleased with that teacher. They said, what are you doing discouraging this young boy from reading books? You absolute moron. Why are you a teacher? So
I've never heard of a teacher that said, nah, you know what? It's so cool that he's reading, but shouldn't be reading that.
No, let's dumb it down a little bit. Get him some,
So you said you write, or
I like to write. Yeah, I do some creative writing on the side.
Like what kind of? What are we talking about?
Short stories, poetry. Way back in the day,
and it's things that see the light of day, or just for your own enjoyment.
No, my own enjoyment. I don't even think my wife has read any of this stuff. But there is a novel somewhere inside me that probably when I'm about 75 years old, will find its way out.
Good for you.
I'm thinking aliens on an uninhabited island.
Wait a minute, is the island on Earth? I don't want to steal your story.
Well, I can't give away the ending.
Well, so aliens. I'm looking forward to this.
Maybe a shipwreck.
Can I pre-order this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to.
You just give me $10 right now, and I'll keep it in mind.
Want to miss out? Yeah. Okay. So you work here at the Blaze, going on a decade. Mm-hmm. Like all of us, you've had other jobs that you've held. I'm going to save. Hold on. Let me go through these because I'm saving one for last because that one is very intriguing.
Oh boy.
You're a server at Ritas Water Ice.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. What is Ritas Water Ice?
Northeastern people know. It's, I don't know why they call it water ice. It's the stupidest name ever because water is ice.
Okay. Well.
It's like a soft Italian ice. It's a little bit looser, a little bit closer to ice cream.
Yeah. I thought I knew kind of what you're talking about. It's just kind of like, I know what you're talking about. But a server, like, are you in like
it's like a little one-room...
I was going to say, like a little shack
It's like an ice cream store, yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
I would take the orders, scoop the ice, do the little ice cream swirl on top.
How long of a line did you have to deal with at its worst?
Oh, man, in the summer months.
Right?
Pretty long. I'm
By yourself in there?
I'm trying to think of what I can say. Because there's a really interesting part of this saga that may end up getting me sued. But it's been so long now. So, Annie Ann's Pretzels.
Yeah.
Ann Byler lived in my neighborhood growing up in Amish Country, Pennsylvania, in this little town called Gap. Her house looked like a normal house, but it went like 6 stories down into the ground. She had like a pool and like a bunch of cars and motorcycles. Really cool lady, really charitable. She was a favorite of the neighborhood kids, in terms of having us over and coming and watching us play hockey in the cul-de-sac, stuff like that. So we knew her, and we worked at Ritas, me and my friend David, and I'm bringing him into this too, because if I'm going down, he's going down with me.
Nice.
And so we worked at Ritas, and we had a talk from our boss who said, listen, if we called her Annie Ann, if Annie Ann comes around, serve her, take her money, be polite, but don't talk to her too much about anything, and don't give her our secret stabilizing powder, which was a white powder which maintained the flavor throughout the ice.
A white powder.
Mm-hmm. It was the secret ingredient, what made Ritas. And so sure enough, Annie Ann came
of course,
came looking, and she was very friendly with the neighborhood kids. So I'm going to yada, yada, yada over some stuff. And a couple of months later, Annie Ann's Crayamo opens up, which was a Ritas Water Ice knockoff from Annie Ann.
Oh, no.
That did not last, unfortunately. It was quite good. It did not last, though.
Okay.
But we love Annie Ann, and to this day, I try to grab a pretzel wherever.
And you do have an attorney that you keep on retainer.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's listening right now.
Very good. Very good.
It's my dad.
Yeah. So you've been a server at various restaurants and stuff. What's like the worst customer experience that you've ever had, like with
Amish people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not listening, so I can say this. They don't tip, or if they do tip, it's very, very small. And we had a party of 14 that stayed for about 3 hours, and I had to work over the end of my shift.
No.
Couple $100 bill, all said and done. I think like $1.12 left on the table at the end of the night as a tip, just as the change that they had gotten. And
That's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's and I get it. It's a cultural difference, but that cultural difference, was affecting my college payments.
No kidding. Wow. See, that's too bad there wasn't somebody in the group. I'm gonna out my grandfather. When he was around, we'd go out to eat or something. He would leave $1 on the table because he's cheap, and I would wait till he was almost to the door, and I'd kind of hang back, and I would have
you
some
did the
extra,
tip padding,
yeah, I'd
like
go
that
back,
Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. Yep.
See, and I go back and make sure that they were taken care of, because that's terrible, man.
Yeah, it's say what you will about the tipping style of the American restaurant industry. It's the system we got, and you should take care of these people. You know,
I agree totally. So you worked in a warehouse. What'd you have to do in there?
Carry stuff around.
Yeah.
I was in the best shape. The only time I've been in anything considered good shape was that summer at the Feed and Supply Warehouse. Yeah, Stoltzfus Feed and Supply Warehouse, also in Lancaster County. The most popular last name in southeastern Pennsylvania is Stoltzfus.
Wow. I would have never guessed that.
More popular than like Miller or Smith, and there's a lot of them too, but just
That's
lot of, because there's a lot of Amish and Mennonite out there, and Stoltzfus is just a big name all around. And even non-Amish or Mennonite people have the last name Stoltzfus.
Thank you for that. Describe, if you can, briefly, and I'll edit this out if you totally flub this, so it's okay. No risk here. The difference between the Amish and the Mennonites.
The Mennonites are like Amish that have just lost their way. No, if you're going to put Amish and English on a line, Mennonite are somewhere in the middle. They've got cars, but there's certain rules for the cars. They have to be like black and stuff, and they have to hold a certain amount of people. They can use electricity and stuff, but they're very limited on what they do use. I really don't know a whole lot about the Mennonite.
Okay.
I knew personally more Amish people than I did Mennonites because I worked with a couple at the warehouse.
And it's not a Mennonite smorgasbord, right? That's an Amish thing, right? Where they had all the food and the big bowls.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's an Amish thing. And the restaurants out in Lancaster County. Like, if you go to there's a place called Kelly's. It's just a traditional Amish restaurant. They make their own everything. Peanut butter, chips, and
I can't remember the name of the restaurant we went to when we lived up in New Jersey. And we went to Amish Country, like I said earlier, and we ate at one of those places. I have never been so full in my life on a day that wasn't in November. That was so good. The food was incredible.
And they're all so skinny. I mean, they work very hard, obviously, from early to late. But
and like you said, you were in the best shape of your life when you worked at the feed store. You're carrying around like sacks of food and stuff like that.
Yep,
right?
Horse feed, corn, concrete, anything a farm would need, we probably carried. And
which transitions into the other job that I wanted to get to that you had, corn pollinator.
There it is.
What is corn pollinating, and is it something we can talk about on this podcast?
We sure can, and it was actually a very fascinating aspect of living in Amish country was that farming and agriculture was not just an Amish thing. It was a huge industry for everybody out there, and there was a corn research facility known as Pioneer, and we're talking high tech, like genetic kind of testing and stuff. And
this doesn't. Don't think this sounds too weird to me. Okay, again, I went to the University of Nebraska. Their nickname
so
is
you
the
know
Cornhuskers.
You know all about the female and male strands of corn and everything.
I'm going to let you tell us.
Yeah, so
walk us through.
So, like any good, successful company, it has to be built upon the backs of young, under-the-table, unskilled labor. A bunch of 14, 15-year-old kids, making $10 an hour under the table.
Wait, what?
Out in these massive fields. When you're doing research on corn, it has to be grown and pollinated in a very particular way. If you have a field of corn, all of the different plants are going to pollinate each other just chaotically, willy-nilly, the wind's blowing everything around. As a corn pollinator, my job was to take the pollen from a single plant of corn and make sure that pollen got only onto the little shoots of ears of corn for that plant, which would require taking a big paper bag, putting it on the top of the stalk, which is where the pollen comes from, and the little shoots of the ears, we had what we called corn condoms. They were little white paper bags that we would slip down over the ears of corn. Thusly, you'd be taking the pollen from one plant and making sure it only got on itself.
That is awesome.
And that way you could, have whole quadrants of corn that were male, female, sweet corn, feed corn, all kinds of, who knows what kind of Frankenstein crap they were getting up to.
So the corn that we love, different variations, like you just said, is because of great people like you.
I don't know that they sold this corn as feed or for food. I think this was purely for research and science-y type stuff.
Well, maybe down the line, your efforts of putting condoms on corn helped out. I don't know.
It was great though. My mom worked there. My sister worked there.
Oh, that's cool.
We all went through, and it is miserable work being out there. Even if it's only 90 degrees, it feels hotter. Corn plants, as you know, being from Nebraska, can be very sharp, and you got to wear long sleeves, otherwise you're gonna come home looking all cut up and stuff. So
yeah, it's not fun. No. Okay, so I think really recently, you got married, right?
I sure did. How long has it been? What's today? February. It's been 4 or 5 months.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for dating the podcast. No, shoot. Okay. So you recently got married, and her name's Jessica.
Sure is. Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I send out these questions just so you're, in advance, you kind of have a heads up of what I'm going to ask and stuff. And one of the questions I ask is, do you have any kids? And this is the greatest answer I've gotten yet. I sure hope not. Great response.
Purely written in sarcasm.
Sure. Do you have plans to have a family someday, or you guys?
It's a little early on for that discussion. We're still trying to get our honeymoon planned.
Wait a minute. That's not a discussion you have before you decide to tie the knot?
So we have decided that we are open to the idea if and when it feels like the right move for us.
I promise not to pry any further along these lines.
I think we would both love to have kids. I think it's a matter of whether or not we think the world's in a place that we want to bring another life into. So.
Oh, then you're never having kids.
Exactly.
This world sucks, man. You kidding me?
It's the best birth control.
Yeah, the evening news is the best form of birth control.
No, can't have a baby now. World's going to hell.
Yeah. You said that last night and the night before. Okay, so when you have any downtime, which, working here is a rarity, I realize, what do you like to do for fun, man?
I've taken to instant pot cooking recently. It's this great thing that Jessica bought. You just put a whole bunch of ingredients in a pot. You turn on the pressure, 15 minutes later, some gourmet stuff comes out. It's great.
Aren't those the most fascinating inventions ever?
It's like a slow cooker, but you're taking out the 8 hours and turning it into 15 minutes.
It almost feels like, okay, what's the catch here? Am I getting cancer by eating what's coming out of this Instant Pot?
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Something's got to be wrong with it.
Fascinating inventions. I'm glad you mentioned that because so you've been experimenting with recipes.
I've done 6 meals at this point. This is not this is not a long-term hobby that I've had, but I have been enjoying it. But I'm a reader. I'm a TV watcher. I'm a video game player. I like to once the insanity of the day's worn off, I like to settle down and relax. And my wife is very much the same way. We're big consumers of media and movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I got it. Yeah, you got books, video games, movies, TVs. But let's go back to the Instant Pot because this is a fascinating discussion. As you impress yourself with whatever you cook in there and dishes turn out great.
I'm so easily impressed by myself, too.
I'm going to need something to pass along here to the wife because that sounds like...
the firecracker chicken.
Okay, yeah, just be sending this stuff. Whenever, like I said, when you impress yourself, send it to me, please.
It was pretty good.
Okay. Any pets that you have? You an animal lover or anything like that? Or?
Yeah. We have a cat that was formerly my cat. When I first moved to New York City, I had to live out in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Oh, isn't it a lovely state?
Yeah, we only had one major shootout between the gangs and the police, and only a couple people died. So, and that's a true story, actually. I had to spend the morning, 6 a.m, on the floor with my cat, holding on to it because there were bullets flying by the windows outside.
Oh my gosh!
I had to have a police officer walk me from my apartment to the PATH station. It was outside Journal Square, real nasty area of Jersey City. And I got to work at CNN, had a little TV on my desk, and it's like massive shooting in Jersey City. I was like, that was me. I was right there.
That's rough.
And so it's hard to make friends in Jersey City.
It's hard to make friends in Jersey.
It's hard to make friends as an adult. But so I adopted a kitty in Jersey City, and he's a great little cat named Zek. Comes from a Star Wars name from a book I read a million years ago.
That's a cool name. Zekk.
That's it. Yep.
Like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And he's got personality.
Yeah.
He's not just going to give it up. You know, you got to earn his affection. My first time that Jessica came over to the apartment when we were dating, I gave her this warning, like, listen, the cat's a little, weird around new people. You know, he won't attack you, but he'll bite or scratch if you try to pick him up. She walks in, scoops this thing up in her arms, flips him on his back, and just starts petting his belly. Something I've never done. And the cat was so shocked by the audacity of the act that he just didn't do anything. And she put him down a little bit later, and he ran off looking all confused. And I think that set the dynamic of the relationship.
Who's the alpha now?
They've gotten along ever since.
Just to clarify, this isn't the apartment in Jersey. This is locally.
Right, yes. This was here in Dallas. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was about to say. I mean, so...
I love that cat.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love cats with personality.
He was a rescue from Amish Country. He was because barn cats out there, the Amish and even just regular farmers treat them like rats, like vermin. They'll send an exterminator to get rid of barn cats because they just spread and multiply. So this cat was found in a trash bag with his brothers and sisters, and he was the only one that survived.
No.
So we were at the SPCA or the Humane Society or whatever, and I had picked out this little orange one that just looked stoned. Like this little kid just looked out of his mind. And then they come in this basket, and I see this little brown guy peeking his head over, and it was, who would eventually become Zach. And I said, nope, that's the one.
This feels right. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You talked about crappy apartment experiences. When I lived in Houston, this is the irony of where I've lived, okay? I lived 45 minutes north of the city, and you would think it would be a nice, safe area or whatever. It was a nasty apartment complex. I mean, I had a leaky ceiling for 6 months that I complained about, and I sent registered mail and all stuff. Nothing could get done. And literally, Adam, I'm not kidding, I went in for the last box, my last thing when I was moving out.
Oh, no.
And this guy came up the stairs, a maintenance guy, goes, yeah, I'm here to check out your leaky ceiling you got. And I'm like, are you kidding me, man?
That was on purpose. Oh. Don't think for a second that was an accident.
Right, yeah. And so...
you must have pissed someone off.
Who don't I piss off? So anyhow, there was a tropical storm Allison that hit. There was 38 inches of rain, just a couple of miles recorded from my apartment complex. So there's massive flooding. And
because Houston's traditionally kind of a dry area. No? I don't know much about Houston.
No, Houston is set up whereas you spit in the street and you go in, turn on the Weather Channel, and wait for the flash flood warning. That's how Houston is.
Gotcha.
But about a week before this tropical storm hit, to dump over 3 feet of rain in some parts, this black mama cat walked across the street in front of me, and these little kittens were following her like ducklings, right? And they were all black, and I was like, oh, that's cute. And then about a week later, I was leaving my apartment one Saturday morning, and this little whiny little black kitten was crawling up, Anyhow, and the family hadn't moved, Carrie, we didn't have kids at the time. Carrie hadn't moved to Houston yet. And so I adopted this kitten. And
you need someone to come home to.
Right, exactly. So it was me and Clarence for a few months.
Clarence, I like it.
Yeah. The reason I tell you this story is we lived in this apartment complex, much like your Jersey City experience. But thankfully, I didn't didn't realize I was risking life or limb until years later, I had moved away several cities later. I was in Charleston, South Carolina. News broke about this guy who had chopped up his girlfriend and then grilled her out on a grill in the parking lot of the apartment complex where I had lived just a few years before.
Oh, boy.
That's fun to see.
That,
Yeah. So, but
do you remember any one evening thinking like, oh, man, something smells great?
No, this happened after I'd moved away. Yeah.
That is terrifying.
It is, yeah. It was bad.
It could be anyone.
Yeah.
You don't know.
But see, then we moved down to the hood, didn't have a problem with anybody. Not a problem with anyone. Then we moved to the far western edge of Omaha, Nebraska, And in 2 weeks after living there, someone stole my car stereo. You just never know who you're sharing a space with, and looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, I went 4 years in North Philly at Temple with no issues, and then I moved to Dallas, and in this, my first apartment was up on off of Greenville Avenue, kind of near the M Street. It's really fancy area, really nice apartment.
Yeah.
And my car got broken into, like the first few months I was here.
Doesn't that feel great?
I know. I was just like, aw.
Isn't that fun being violated like that? Yes. Okay, so you've got some interesting talents. You can write and record songs.
Ugh, yeah. Did I really put that?
Yeah, you put that.
That doesn't require proof, though, right? Like,
no. There's not. I'm not going to splice in a song unless you want me to.
Don't touch my iPod.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are we talking about, like, are you playing instruments or are you just singing?
Both. I play guitar, bass, and I've been known to sing a little bit.
Where do you? Is this like your writing? You just do it for yourself?
Yeah. I was in a band in high school.
Okay.
Just imagine if Blink-182 was just worse than they already are, just infinitely worse, and that was us.
Wow.
Even covering some of their songs.
Were
terribly.
you the lead singer?
I was.
I want to hear something. No.
I think there's a video on my Facebook page of an old concert at Java Joe's in Pennsylvania. But once I started the career and went to New York and then ultimately Texas before I met Jessica. Like we said, it's hard to make friends.
Yeah.
So you look for things to fill the time. And I had just a little MacBook with a plug-in mic, and it came pre-installed with GarageBand or whatever. And
Nice.
I knew a little bit about audio editing, so I just would lay down acoustic songs. Got probably 15 or 20 of them, and my high school band actually does have an album.
I'm going to need to hear that.
It's so the band was Breaking Something Beautiful because we had all seen Fight Club and thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I got a shout out to David Savakinis, Phil Copley, and Dusty Stuppy. Those guys were
cool.
We were terrible, but
Yes.
I'll play you something sometime.
Yes,
You'll
you
get
will.
a kick out of it.
Please, thank you. Okay, so I just realized at this point in the conversation, and my brain just got triggered or reminded, I should say, when you talked about audio editing. It's like I didn't ask you what you do under this roof for the Blaze earlier.
I don't know what I do.
Yeah, so because your role has really evolved over the last 10 years.
Oh yeah,
it's so many different ways.
Been one thing and another all the time.
So what is it that you currently do here or have done? I mean, whatever you want to tell me.
So I guess it just lay it out linearly. Started as a PA on Glenn's show, just kind of floating around all his projects. More just a Glenn PA. I helped out with a little bit of radio.
And that's a production assistant.
Yeah,
correct? Okay.
Production assistant. This was back in New York, the real old days. Worked with Glenn for a long time. And really, really found my stride as an employee here when I started on The Wonderful World of Stu, which was a comedy sketch program with Stu Burguiere. And we had 7 great seasons, a couple of really fun years. I am so proud of some of the stuff I did on that show. I pull it out to show new people all the time, and that's why I'm so excited to recently have moved, because I went back to Glenn after that ended. There was no logistical way to keep that going, and we did a lot of cool stuff. So back to Glenn for a while, and now Stu Does America. I'm so excited to be back on a project with Stu, especially a comedy show with him. We click very well in terms of our writing, what we think is funny.
Yeah, the sense of humor. I mean, your sense of humor is spectacular, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you for this podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I start my stand-up career this afternoon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can I use the studio?
Yeah, and there can be a concert in here later with your garage band?
Yeah, I got about 4 people that I know that are going to come watch.
That's good.
You're one of them.
Okay. Well, shoot, I'm busy. Just check my schedule.
Can't swing it.
I'm washing my hair, which you know is a lie since I have none.
You have some of mine. It's beautiful and bountiful. And
listen to you bragging over there.
It's all I got, man.
He's got beautiful head of hair. Yes, sir.
That's it.
And so under the question, what is something people don't know about you? Do you want to tell the good folks?
What did I say?
Something about your politics.
No, there's no need to go into that too deeply. Let's just say the great thing about television, and especially political television, even more especially in the comedy world, where you're just looking for ways to make light and make fun of anything, it's great that we live in a country where you can work for a network that espouses certain political views that you don't have to line up with them yourself. Yeah. I'm an individual, Keith, and I can't be defined on a black and white. Right?
No, and I think that's completely fair.
No, I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I'm absolutely a bleeding heart liberal.
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. You have no problem making fun of your side. When it's necessary.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
And you find the humor in it, and you can write to that.
It's really easy. And that's the thing, I don't think anything is so sacred that we can't just laugh about it. Because once we do, then that's when everything starts getting so tribal and angry and confrontational. And, I'm a very big believer in everybody believe what you believe and stand up for yourself and what you believe. But don't be a jerk about it to other people. Right.
Have your beliefs, but can we still laugh together?
Yeah.
Right?
And I have a lot of personal beliefs that probably fall more in the conservative area. I'm very pro-life. Although I consider myself liberal, I'm just not a big fan of killing things. Any kind of thing, especially babies. So it's.
So are your friends mostly liberal?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how do they react to the fact that you work for Glenn Beck?
They get it. I'm sure at the start, it was probably a little like, really, what are you doing there? But I always tell everyone the same thing when that question comes up. It's like, Glenn Beck may be, people know Fox News firebrand Glenn Beck, but the Glenn Beck I know has never spoken, he tells the truth to what he believes, and he never BS's. Mm-hmm. Same with Stu. I may not agree with everything that Glenn and Stu believe, but man, they're telling the truth, and they're doing it because they believe it's beneficial for all of us as a country, a society. And I respect people who don't try to lie.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Just people are so full of crap, and you find anyone who is just willing to be honest and listen to you be honest. And that's another thing. Glenn's always said, I like to surround myself with people who have different ideas than me because it helps strengthen my own. Such a big believer in that concept.
That's great. I mean, have you lost any friends over who your employer is? Or
no.
Okay, well, that's good.
That
gives me some hope.
If I would, then I probably wouldn't be friends with people like that in the first place. That's just such a...
Yeah. You want to publish a book in your lifetime.
That is, yeah. We talked a little bit before.
That book that's living in your head from earlier? Is that what you're talking about?
That's just one idea. I really would love to write just a great horror novel, something that really shocked people. I'm a big Stephen King fan, have always been. A huge fan of his son, Joe Hill. If anyone hasn't heard of Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, and his writings, he is better than his father, in my opinion. And I read this book that Joe Hill did called The Fireman, about a post-apocalyptic scenario where people are spontaneously combusting because of a disease. They're bursting into flames and dying across the planet. And it was the most original, gut-wrenching thriller, really, because there was nothing supernatural about it outside of this disease that makes you burst into flames. But man, that novel just...
What's the name of it?
The Fireman. And it was just so good. And I read this series of books called The Expanse as well, which is a great TV show that they made. And these guys, the way they write, it just makes me angry because it's so good. And I don't think I could ever write anything like that, but I want to try.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the bucket list right there. That's it.
Well, you and I should get together because I kind of have an idea for a screenplay. Bounce it off of you and see if you think there's anything there.
I'd love to experiment with a screenplay.
All right, cool. But under the heading bucket list, because I asked that question in the email, you said that you wanted to go to space or the moon, wherever they'll have you, right? Did
I put on there about my ashes?
Yeah, you said you would settle for having your ashes shot into space. I think
that's a thing.
But which is fine, but I don't think that counts as a bucket list because I think the bucket list, you have to still be alive, right?
Yeah, but does anybody really know what happens to the spirit after death? Like, it could be like that Doctor Who spinoff where people are still alive no matter what happens. So it's really crazy.
Well, that's that. I've never heard of anyone who wanted their ashes shot into space.
Either there or...
How could you go about doing that? Like, who do you call? The guy who runs Richard Branson? You're going to call him? And
It's a company. I remember hearing about it, seeing it on Reddit or something, but just this guy that was building rockets to send people's ashes into, not like, I don't think, on a trajectory to head out of the solar system. It probably gets up into like one of the lower levels.
Just somewhere
and
where it just starts
becomes
floating.
Space junk. Yeah, and I would love to think that my space junk would one day collide with the ISS and just cause a complete global catastrophe.
Oh, that's good. That's
People
good.
would remember that.
Yeah, they would. Oh no, there's Adam's ashes, or they would be planning missions to make sure that they didn't intercept your ashes or something, or collide with them or whatever, like an asteroid belt.
Yeah, that could have been me that killed Clooney in Gravity.
See?
Oh, spoiler. Sorry. Did he die?
Haven't seen it.
It was
it any good?
It was good the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in theaters.
All right. Well, that's cool, man. Do you think that we will see regular space travel in our lifetime?
I really don't know. Not through anything government funded. I don't think. I think.
And when I say space travel, regular space, I mean with individuals like you and me. Not
colonization
Yeah.
of the moon or Mars, I would love to see it in my lifetime. It's going to be done privately. Future supervillains like Elon Musk, those are going to be the people that actually inject the capital to do these kind of things. You know, it's never going to happen under the government banner. And who knows what China's doing on the dark side of the moon right now.
You're not kidding.
So, if I have to defect to become Chinese to have them shoot my ashes up into space, that's fine.
I'm going to figure it out. All right. Anything else that I missed you want to add here? Tell us about yourself.
I hate talking about myself, but this has been fun.
Yeah, good.
Thanks
for spending time. I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to reflect on this company because, like you said, being of a different political mind here in a building like this, it has been such a non-issue that I have put non-thought into for so long because nobody cares.
No.
We all respect each other's beliefs. We all make fun of each other mercilessly, as good friends do. Mm-hmm. And, this company it sounds so cliche, but it's a family. You know, this is... I've put blood, sweat, and tears into this network, and, I wouldn't take a bullet for Glenn Beck, but I'd definitely be like, hey, watch out, there's a bullet coming.
I take a splinter for Glenn.
Exactly.
Okay,
big splinter, one of those nasty ones. I love this company. I love working with you guys.
Cool. Well, us too, man. Adam Ford from The Blaze. What is your title with Stu Does America?
Let's go with managing producer. That was last I heard.
Managing producer of Stu Does America, Adam Ford. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
This has been At the Mic with Keith, an independent podcast production. Look for At the Mic Show on Twitter to connect.